Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Experiencer Podcast, the podcast that brings you upfront and personal with past and present enigmatic experiences from individuals who have witnessed or even interacted with the strange, the extraordinary, and the otherwise unknown existence of UFOs or aliens. If you've had an out-of-this-world experience you'd like to share, please reach out to me at theexperiencerpodcast@gmail.com. If you have photos or footage of UFOs, IAPs, or any other extraordinary phenomena and would like to share it, please forward it to theexperiencerpodcast@gmail.com. I am most humbled to be able to broadcast with you all and share the following experiences from today's guest. I'm going to keep this simple. I'll introduce our guest, and otherwise we'll jump right into the show and let him tell us the gist of it. This is Ian Sean from Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks, Ian Sean, for being here this evening.
Yo, the pleasure is mine.
Okay, so just want to thank you again, Ian Sean, for spending some time with us today to share and hopefully just maybe inspire folks to a more mind-opening dialogue around this sort of subject via these current episodes. So please, Ian, do us a favor. Begin by telling us the setting. Maybe start with telling us when and where or how old you were when all this took place.
Well, I'm going to take them back to the beginning. So, back then, before cable and all that stuff, or before I had access to it, we would watch X-Files and Tales of the Crypt and everything like that. So,
Classics.
yeah, always had a vivid imagination with or without those shows, but that definitely played a part in it. And I would always have, not a dream, but not a vision either. It was just you just doze off and see stuff, and you're like, I feel like I'm being abducted. Always like a green light. You know what I'm saying? Like coming through the bedroom. And I lived on the 4th floor in Bronx, New York at the time. So that was the
Great.
early, you know what I'm saying? So it's there's no way you're going to just see this green. It's a weird green, the sci-fi green we always see.
I was going to say neon
light
light green or
neon,
glowing green.
Glowing neon light green, in that realm. You know what I'm saying? Where it's a tint, but it's not it's for sure green light. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's I never felt abducted or, I never felt like I, had many interactions with them. But I do remember seeing, the classic grayish alien with the big old head with this, with the big cone head in the top, or a circle, and then it comes down, with the black eyes, and then with the pointy chin. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Now, you're skimming over, so forgive me for interjecting. Yeah. When, you started with, we didn't have cable, but we all watched X-Files and some favorite sci-fi shows.
Oh, yeah,
Tales
just to
from
let
the
you
Crypt.
know, as a kid, you know what I'm saying? You could be seeing some of these, so you may be getting some of these images because you're
influenced with a great imagination.
Versus actually experiencing it and seeing it. I'm just taking them through the
It's an
whole
honest disclaimer. Again,
I'm just taking them through the whole journey of where I got to seeing it in the sky. You know what I'm saying?
And then you jumped into this green glow. Did you go right to bed? Did you fall asleep?
I was always in bed when I would have this. It wasn't a reoccurring, it was the same thing. It was just I feel like this is happening, or it could happen, or you're telling yourself that, you know what I'm saying? You're if I think about it hard enough, it will happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mine was, my parents would watch Unsolved Mysteries. Down the hallway, I'd hear the music, and all night I would fear a burglar coming in the house. Somebody violent crime.
Something equivalent to that, for sure.
So was it to that effect?
Yeah, for sure. That was my early, reminiscence of, you know what I'm saying, of dealing with that stuff. Because, at that age, even to this day, you're is it real, is it not? You know what I'm saying? You're it's not. Until you, shake his hand or whatever, there's no real proof, or there's no, lasting, tangible memory. But
was
it's all,
there a reoccurrence about it?
Yeah, that's what I
was
brought it up.
Was it only on the nights that you watched television, or did
that's
it
a good
go
point,
on different
I don't
years,
know,
different
because
nights?
I had that was like maybe let's just say that lasted for like between like 4 and 6 or 6 and 8. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere like in where you're like your imagination is active, but you're still like, yo, am I conscious? Am I not? Because a funny story to that, like, I had a dream where it was like, yo, I woke up and like I walked to the bathroom like I normally would. I'm over the toilet doing my business, and then I wake up and I'm halfway peeing on myself. So that's how vivid my imagination could go at times and shit like that. So it's just like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? When you see something like at that time and age, I used to sleepwalk, all of that stuff. So like,
snap, okay.
Yeah, like I used to have a lot of random like stuff like happened to me when I was young. So
please, and when we sleepwalk, we're in a different state than conscious or subconscious.
Yeah,
we're
like,
in between. So please, is there any things
like I would try to unlock the door, leave the house? Maybe I did a few times and stuff like that.
What age
like,
again? 4 to 6, 6 to 8, or all of that?
Nah, I don't remember sleepwalking out. Those are stories from my mother telling me and stuff.
Do you remember that state of mind at all? Do you remember being in between?
It's like autopilot. It was assumed like, you know, yeah. So another thing to for wrap up childhood for what it's worth, I was they said I was born with a veil and stuff. It's a translucent piece of skin that like that's born around the baby. Like a lot of babies have it, but like the ones that I guess like when it's covered in your body, like you're more in tune with the spiritual and all that type of senses and stuff like that. Yeah, what it represented back then and stuff. So there was like,
it's a beautiful thought process too. And in fact, in modern midwifing and folks who get to take advantage of the birthing process, they're also talking about leave the placenta intact. Most doctors will quick to cut it, but the reality is you let it dry out, you let those nutrients soak into the baby until that sac dries. Could be hours, could be minutes, but it's usually a couple hours. Until it dries, all those nutrients, T cells, blood, immune system boosting is
natural
in that
vaccines
placenta.
and stuff.
It's in the placenta. They cut it too quick, and we're realizing now. Let it go until it's dry, then you cut it from the baby. A friend of mine just did it with his most recent child, and we've read it all over the place, so it's really interesting. So, but I do remember hearing a number of things. If this is still attached, and that's the same thing. It's like the placenta over the baby kind of thing, right? That's what the veil is. That's really cool. But that's what it was symbolic for.
Yeah, like one of the nurses probably were talking about it, and my mom overheard them, or like because they were also island folks or something, you know, like in the hospital or whatever. So like they probably had similar beliefs or like
That's
know,
beautiful.
like So I thought it's just one interesting thing because like you would never know unless you were told this. You know what I'm saying? There's no like. I don't know if there's pictures of it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, by all means. And it's something that happens so fast and then they slip it off you or it tears off naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. That's tough. So please, was there any other facets of that time and or experiences that occurred within the same envelope of time?
Let's just say Men in Black came out in theaters. I saw that, and then that just kept me more mindful. It was like, oh, how like they go in too much detail. Even though I'm a kid, I'm like, yo, they bring up so many points that I thought about in my head. So like, yo, maybe there's some validity or truth to and all of this. So it makes you look up in the sky more. It makes you.
What is the next experience that stands out for you?
Okay, like these are the more tangible memories that I know this is happening because there's other people seeing it simultaneously. We're all watching the same thing occur. There's probably about 6 to 8 of us. We're probably playing some form of football on like a grassy pit. Now I'm in Las Vegas. Let me lived in this complex called Eagle Trace. It's right next to the Air Force Base, like literally right across the street from the Air Force Base. So
which one? Here in
Nellis
Vegas?
Air Force Base. My bad. Yeah,
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah,
the
Las
famous.
Vegas. Yeah, not too far from the Speedway, the International Speedway, and just like tons of desert and tons of open space. And I've seen tons of spacecraft. I've seen them fly very low at times, and I've seen them, through all times of day and night. So to make this statement after seeing all of this stuff for a few years, you're like, okay, like I know the difference between, what's a normal ascension as far as like taking off and landing. You've seen stunt planes, you've seen planes that do the writing, smoke. You've seen chemtrail planes. You've seen all types of designs and sizes, carriers. So to see a plane like, or a group, a flight pattern that's not like typical to fly in, like, you know how like planes they take off and they gradually go. For people that don't know, I'm doing like the hand, like a chart, graph chart,
45 degree.
Yeah, like a 45. Yeah. And these are ones are flying, like they're not flying vertically, but they're not flying neither the 45-degree angle. They're flying a little bit in between that space.
Taking off or
just flying. They're already in the air. That's the crazy thing. They're already probably about 20,000 feet in the air. You know what I'm saying? But they're still visible, and they don't all have. They all have the same type of light, but they're not blinking like aircrafts.
Yes, left and right wing.
Yeah, and they're moving around where it's like, you're covering a lot of distance in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. You're not like light moving fast where you're like, oh, this is something definitely out of this world, but you're moving way faster than you see planes just typically move, especially in a pattern like that. Like, because we think planes are close to each other, fighter jets, but I see them take off and land like they're taking off maybe 30 seconds apart from each other and stuff like that.
At least about 2.5 times their size distance between each one.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So like even when they're all turning left and banking at the same time, you know, like they look close from our point of view, but there is probably like 8 car lengths between them. I mean, car lengths is airplane lengths. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Yeah. So.
Wild and diamond formation.
Yeah,
but so, do you think you were seeing something at high altitude doing reconnaissance on us in these formations?
It's hard to tell because it's like when you're. Because I've been in planes too, like doing small. My father went to get his aviation license and stuff, so like. We would go in a small plane, so like I noticed that the view is different. So yeah, they're probably not just surveilling my neighborhood, which it looks like to that naked eye, but they're probably surveilling. Yeah, they're probably surveilling exactly
the power plants,
exactly,
real fast, real quick.
And then they went far west. You know what I'm saying? Far southwest, because we're on the east side, like the very bottom, northeast,
Las Vegas.
Exactly. Like there's very little behind us unless you want to go to Utah or something, and then
what did they do? What was their?
Yeah, they just like took off. That's when they like just started to like. They just took off. Like you just take your eye off of them for a minute or two, laughing, joking with your friends, and you look back up like nowhere in sight. That happens with planes too, but like the way they were going, clear skies for like. You know what I'm saying? You know, like the visibility would be like 10.
Did you feel it was ours or something else?
It felt like something else because it was like. I don't know what drew my eye to it. You know what I'm saying? And I brought it up to a few friends that were all there. We're all like preteen, teenagers. You know what I'm saying? And they're all like, yeah, they see it too. And you comment and stuff, but it's like,
what else can you do?
Yeah, there's nothing to really be said.
How long did you observe them? Off and on, or the whole time?
Yeah, let's just say 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow. And what
and
other?
They came back.
Okay, thank you. What other kind of motions, or how many times did they crisscross or bank or?
This particular day, they were just like they went far away and then they came back, and they're playing like it was like early like this, but leading to dusk. So it's probably like in Las Vegas, we have a lot of sunlight, so it's probably like 5 in the afternoon.
Okay, but that's why you could see them because the light was just beginning to change.
Exactly, but it's just like this light is still so bright for being so far away. Like, what plane would have their lights on like this?
Was it a light or did they glow? How can you describe their...
It looks more like a glow, but it was a light. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a...
Just a single source.
Yeah, from my angle. Like, but 4 different entities are like... There's 4 of them, you know what I'm saying, flying around doing this. And they're keeping up with each other. And one may like go a little bit in front of each other, and then the other one like will go like this. So is all happening.
Semi-broke formation once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just flew all the way to the other side of town. We thought they were gone, and they came back. That's when the conversation. Yeah. And you can hear them.
Right.
These ones you couldn't hear. We couldn't hear these neither.
Especially when there's 3, 4. Did they just do single circles around the city? Did they do high altitude circles and dives? Like, did they do anything different?
Yeah, they definitely looked like they were at different elevations throughout their like our time seeing them. That's what also like they're not flying like normal planes do. Like they're not going up and down like it made no sense to their. It's like they felt like they were in control, but like it looks sporadic to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, oh, what are y'all doing? Like, and then to fly so far out of the way, out of sight, and then to come back. And then not go to the base, still like
right, not come and land.
Yeah, exactly.
So you never saw these things land.
Never. Because even if they went to the base, I probably would have just discredited it as a plane.
they go do air attacks, air fights, and then they come back, and it's a chance for the entire international
that's
to test on each other.
I'm surprised
this is how dogfights would go. But even that, my point being, they only leave for about 90 minutes.
Interesting. Okay.
Whereas it sounds like what you saw, these things were up there for a while and never came down to refuel or land. Which is exactly. Not like...
Because I don't know, like, you know, how much gallons of jet burns per, you know, like, mile. But I'm pretty sure, you need to land, like...
And I know by all means they could do more. I think they do what is for that mission, so they may only do half hours and hours worth. I don't know what that. We should look that up.
We check definitely. Out. Yeah, please.
What is the longest an F-18 or F-35 can fly, and how much gas is that, and how fast does it burn?
Yeah.
The F-35A can fly up to 1,200 nautical miles or 20 to 30 minutes.
Obviously, if they're hitting afterburners or something, it probably burns.
And I've heard of refueling air programs and stuff like that. I've seen that. And then watching your previous episodes, you know, salute to all you other guys and gals. Your stories made me want to. I've experienced something like that. Like, I thought I had to get like abducted and like have the beam on me and be raised out the car to like have valid points. But yeah, I've seen a few crazy unidentified objects throughout the years, and that was just one of them. Like.
Is there any more during the Nellis that really stand out?
They're all similar to that. Oh, yes. The one time I was at the basketball court, and then I saw, like, 2 moons. And then, so, like, we got the natural moon that's, like, on the same side as the sun. The sun is setting, you know, like, at the west, and it normally does. And then the moon is, like, more, like, I guess, like, southwest up in the air, just, like, translucent kind of, which you can still... But behind this is a giant fucking, like, moon. But it's, like, tinted orange or some shit. And once again, I'm not by myself. There's tons of people around, and I'm like pointing it out. People see it, but nobody's making a big deal about it but me. I'm like the only one paranoid about this, and I'm just like, yo, there's 2 moons in the sky right now, and one is like setting, and the other one is like, when does the moon ever set or rotate like that, or ever is this close to the ground? Because it looks like it was just beyond a wall, like you know what I'm saying, like.
And it wasn't. Here's the sun setting, and it's bouncing
a light or something. No,
or
like
a reflection of itself on the opposite atmosphere, and then the moon was up middle. And
the only other explanation is like...
I mean, that's crazy.
The only explanation is like... Because this is without a telescope. This is natural eyes. So I'm like, this has to be another planet. This like Jupiter I'm looking at or something like that. If it's not a moon. You know what I'm saying?
But
so
it was
like,
so big.
It was so... Crazy. Yeah. But it wasn't like all the crazy colors they put the planets to be. It looked just like the moon. Like a tinted orange.
How was the one...
It looked closer. It was a closer object. So it appeared way larger than anything I've ever seen be considered. That could be considered a sun.
So it wasn't like when today we look up in Mars or Venus or
Jupiter. Because I've seen those before, like with my natural eyes too.
And
like,
they're big and they glow,
but they're so far up in the air. They're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you have
compared
to
the moon. It's
you have to like focus.
So you saw 2 objects like it was the same moon.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a sun, a moon, and another moon.
Right.
Right at this time and point in time, and this is like between 2003 and 2005.
Were both moons the same color?
No, well, the other moon was like the moon I know it to be, like kind of grayish, silverish, like translucent. Like it wasn't like a solid looking object. Like sometimes the moon is in the daytime, you see it, you're just like, oh, the moon doesn't move. You ever seen that before? Like the moon just be up in the air like at all times of day. Like it's just.
Oh yeah, it's a real slow day, but it was up early, and you're like, wow, this thing is.
Yeah, I'm talking about even right now. You look up and you might see it. Like
we do have a super harvest moon that seems to be in the sky.
Yeah, but like yeah,
it seems like the sun was bouncing off the moon so hard that day that you saw it, that it was throwing a reflection of the moon into the opposite side and like a lensing effect. But like we were talking.
I believe.
But this sounds tripped though. But I've never seen anything like that.
The other thing that like double hit the point home why I even remember this is because it looked like it was right over the base. Because now it's facing in that direction where the mountains are, where the thing, like there's nothing really behind it. There's a VA hospital or the first VA, like a hospital, a prison. There's not much behind us over there, so why am I seeing it? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no buildings like that. So it was like, it's just like, oh, coincidentally, we're by Air Force Base, and I'm seeing another planetary looking, like, you know what I'm saying, moon or something like that.
That's really true.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing that I could.
So it was huge. It was just
huge
as big as the moon itself.
Yes, for sure.
Wow, that's a trip. Sure. And both had a little different color. That's what's really
that was
something
crazy. Yeah.
Which again, I've never seen anything like it. but that leads me to think, okay, one was the true moon, and one was, some reflection that had the warmth of the sun bouncing off our atmosphere.
Yeah.
But that's I've never.
Because I had cell phones at that time, but it was like Nokia color phone or something. So there's no picture capability at all.
How many people were you like tapping on the shoulder, like, yo?
We're on a basketball court, so like, and people are around, and there's kids of all ages around. So it's like, yeah. So it's like maybe at least 15, 20 of us out there. You know what I'm saying? Like legitimately and stuff. So a lot of people saw it. You know what I'm saying? But probably nobody gave much of maybe some other people like, oh wow, that is crazy, and then go back to.
Anybody ever seen anything like that? Leave it in the comment section.
Yeah, please, because I think I looked it up and I saw some information about it where it wasn't just like a phenomenon. Like
my mind's eye does a thing where like you're looking out over an ocean and you see the reflection on the ocean. Like that's all I can process it is. I'm like,
but it's setting like it. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like it's so much lower. The points don't even make sense. Where it's like it's not a reflection. That's crazy. I would like to know what it is. If somebody could scientifically like explain what I saw, like I would be interested myself.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So please, any other standout occurrences? Sounds like definitely at least was an illuminating time to your imagination.
Everything else would be supernatural, not extraterrestrial.
In that same age group or years later.
Years later, which makes it even more freaky. Which between like 13 and 17, all of this stuff occurred that I'll mention and stuff. Like one time, it was just me and my brother. We had came home from school. We went to the same school. My second sibling. All right, so pretty much it's just me and my brother in the house. My youngest brother has a tricycle. And it made a noise, but nobody's in the house. Like it's just like somebody hit a hard plastic, but it didn't move or anything like that. So we're in our room, and the tricycle is like right in the living room. We live in like a 2-bedroom, relatively small apartment. So it's like we want to go on the other side of the door, but we're like, we kind of built up the courage. So we're just talking shit to like in the air, like, hey, if you're there, come out if you're, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we're like 13, 14. He's
older.
So it's like, 6, 7, but it was just like, and then it made a noise again, like but louder. And then we were like so shook, like we didn't like leave our room until my father came.
Was your door open or was your door closed?
We ended up like closing it or whatever, like. Or because it probably was like had a creak where it's like almost
13
closed, like a jar.
Is quite the age to be startled by something like this. So it had to have been a loud noise.
Because the initial one you could have wrote it off, but when we talk stuff out loud and it's dead silent in there, to hear it again, you're like, oh shit, like you know what I'm saying, like oh damn, like. But so.
What kind of noise?
Just like a thud. You know what I'm saying? But it felt like the tricycle got kicked, but it didn't move again. But it just made this, because it sounds like plastic.
Like a smack, slap,
yeah. It's like you angered something. It's just like a typical movie, you know what I'm saying, type of thing, where it was like, okay, there's that. There's a couple years younger, so like between 10 and 12, 11, my mom was lighting a black candle, and it just broke. The candle just broke. That was like a spooky like thing. Like the candle smoked up, got all black on the inside, and just like broke.
Straight down the middle?
Yeah. I have to show you. Like, say if this is a candle, like the top piece would just like it would just split like right there. So like 3/4 of it would just break, like almost a clean break. Not like.
And she was just holding it, and it obviously
no. It was just burning like on top of a counter. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on a plate or something, but it just cracked and just broke. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was interesting just because it was like I've never seen that before. Yeah. And it was just like, it was just like a spooky like moment, like an eerie moment too. Like when it happened, it was like, oh, okay, that's different. This one is probably the most impactful, and this one happened at like 16, 17, and I'm just laying down in bed at night, and I'm fully conscious. I open my eyes don't open, but my body doesn't move. It feels like something's choking me.
Ooh, so sleep paralysis with a choke.
Yes. And I'm like,
any pressure on your chest at all? Or just choking?
Just choking.
That's still scary as hell.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, yo, but it's like something, it feels like something is gripping your throat. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't feel like you can't breathe, because I've choked before, like on like swallowing something in the wrong pipe, or like salt water or water, you know, from like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like
this was different.
This was way different because like I couldn't move, and then I just remembered like wanting to yell, and I just couldn't yell, and then like 10, 15, 20 seconds go by, which is a long time, especially if you're like just waking up in a panic and shit. And then when you finally yell, like it's just like all the air, everything that you was holding up just came out in a burst. And nobody woke up in the house or nothing, and it was just like a spooky fucking time. Like,
had you had sleep paralysis before?
Never diagnosed, but I did say earlier. Remember, like the sleepwalking, that was the closest thing. Like that was how much years later.
Crazy different, but still.
And then it happened again.
Subconscious states, yeah.
Maybe like 6 months, 4 to 6 months later, it happened again.
That same feeling,
but this time I was more like, I'm gonna just be like. Let me just stand up to, even if it is a demon or whatever. Like it took it didn't last as long, but it was the same effect. I felt like I was choking. I couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? And it never happened again to this day. But yeah, like I watched the news segment after it happened the first time, randomly, because it was like 2 in the afternoon. Like it was a random time of day where I wouldn't even be watching the news, or it shouldn't even be on.
Right.
And they had a segment about this happening to a lot of people, and it had like a Spanish term for it, where in English it translates to "witch riding my back." You know what I'm saying? So there was like a term for it. So it was like, oh damn, like so it's like so yeah. And then science started to explain it. So the second time I wasn't as afraid. I was more prepared, but I didn't know what it was and why it happened. But in that apartment, so much creepy little things would just happen, and it wasn't just because my paranoia, because like I watch scary movies by myself now. Maybe that's more being an adult and like having lived on your own and just being in tons of situations. But yeah, even in my childhood where I probably thought of it less, like a lot of creepy stuff would happen that you just have to write off, like
sleep paralysis is one thing. That's definitely something that we can scientifically say, oh, we're having this neurological states where you're half awake, half asleep, or again, you're starting to wake up, but your mechanical functions haven't come to consciousness yet. That's sleep paralysis. However, to be choked, to be conscious of being choked, did you have a feeling of choked, or just the breath out of you?
The feeling of being choked, but it's just like
one hand, two hands, fingers, hands at all, no hands.
Definitely hands and fingers. Where it's like, you know what I'm saying? In the moment, you're just like, oh, because I didn't open my eyes at first, couldn't either. Like I just was just conscious, but I was like, yo, I couldn't even. And then I'm like, yo, should I open my eyes? What if it is somebody choking or somebody? Because like, you're not feeling the pressure of somebody's weight. You're just feeling the force of it around your neck. So like it just becomes like, oh shit, what's happening to me? Like, oh damn, this is crazy. You don't quite feel like you're gonna die. It's more like, yo, something is messing with you. You know what I'm saying?
To see
like,
how conscious I am, to see how easy it can get me or not.
Yeah. The second time after it happened, it didn't last as long, maybe like 5 to 8 seconds, 10 seconds max, and then it never happened again, and I was just fine after that. But my time living in that place, I seen a lot of stuff. So.
That was the 2-bedroom apartment where you and your brother were scared by the noise.
Yeah.
Interesting. So please, some of the other eerie things that might have happened, because these you got 2 so far. So if you got something else, we can all.
The only thing else is just like I seen shooting stars like damn near land and touch the floor. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like that was pretty cool.
That is really cool.
You know, and that was also in North Las Vegas. Like it was just an open road. They're building on it now, but it was just like a dirt patch, and it just like. I don't even know where it came from, because it looked like it came from like just above the power lines. That's how low it was already. Like by my eye already caught it. You know what I'm saying? And then because I'm like, oh, is it gonna start a fire? But by the time it touched the dirt, it just dissipated. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't fireworks or anything like that. So
I've lived on the edge of the Sierra Nevadas. When I first moved there as a kid, man, you would see those things streak all the way to the ground too, and I would see it streak to the silhouettes of forest in the distance, which wasn't very far in our town.
Oh yeah, so if something happened,
you always wonder like, whoa, is that gonna start a fire? Is there gonna be a fire? We wake up tonight, everybody's got to be evacuated.
I've seen a fire start from nothing, just tumbleweed. Being in that same apartments in the desert, there was like an open patch of I don't know what they built on it by now, but a tumbleweed just literally just caught on fire, just like I damn near saw it just combust. Then it just like, and then firefighters had to come put it out. Like all this happened in like 15-20 minutes, and the fire was already pretty hot.
Is there other paranormal experiences at a different time, that time that really stand out?
One. That, but I can't explain it because and veterinarians couldn't explain it. This is what's the crazy part. So I don't. You remember Bree?
Yes.
So yeah, her mom rented her place out to me. So I was one of the but I watched one of her dogs. Her dog's name was Rocky. It was like a golden retriever lab mix or whatever. Sweet, calm dog. Just he would only bark sometimes, or if he saw something just like a sweetheart dog, like really good dog and stuff. So I had to leave him outside because my work schedule, like I was working like 8 to 10 hours in the morning. Like I had no way to come back and check on him, so I had to like prepare everything for him before I left, like, and then just come back as soon as I could. And then so it's around 4th of July, so I know he's probably barking. There's fireworks going off in the back. I bring him in at the end of the day. So it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night. He comes home. He goes to his cage. Everything is sweet, whatever. Like, he came into the room, looked at me, and then went back into the cage. And he just stared at me like in the doorway. And I just never paid it no mind. And then the next day, he didn't come out the cage at all. Like, at all. And I was like, oh, he's really not feeling bad. He'll eat if you gave him human food, but he wouldn't eat dog food or anything like that.
Whoa.
The next day, I'm like, okay, he's not moving. Like, what's going on? And then it's just like, yo, he would not move ever again. But like the way he came in from the house, that day, it was like an eerie moment where it's just like, yo, something felt off. And then like the dog never walked again, like ever. They got a wheelchair for him. They did X-rays on it. No physical damage, no nerves. Like it was one of those paranormal activity moments where it was just like, yo, what the fuck just tortured this dog? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the craziest shit.
Do you think it was the fireworks? Do you think he was traumatized?
Yeah, like that's the only logical thing where it's like he probably was jumping on the wall and then like pinched the nerve in a super delicate like freak accident way that made him like not walk again. But I'm just like, why didn't it take effect out there all day when he's out there, or when, you know what I'm saying? Why would he just come out and just stare in the doorway like that, like at that stuff? And it was just like, I couldn't explain it, so it was just like, yeah, no, that was crazy. So like, cause he was in so much pain to take him to the veterinarian too. Like he was biting me. I had to like wrap my hands in t-shirts and stuff so like I could get him into my car. But like, yeah, that was the craziest like thing that I was like, cause all these stuff are like, they're kind of explainable, but there's so much mystery and stuff surrounding it that you're like, yo, what? You know what I'm saying? So
that's a trip, man.
Yeah,
that
those
sucks
are
to deal with. That sucks to see a dog. Just how old was it at this time?
Less than 7 probably. You know what I'm saying? So
that's
a pretty
young
age
to for his body to go.
Because he wasn't young, so he probably he was at least 4 years old. I would say, at least 4 years old. Yeah, 4 to 7.
Man, yeah, that's a
and
little
he probably
young.
lived for like a year and a half, 2 years, because they tried to rehabilitate him every way possible. Like, you know, like they really like stuck it out. Like that was a family member for real. So I felt extremely bad that he was in my care and that happened, and that was like a crucial blow. Like, but they didn't treat me any different for it or nothing like that. They understood, and that's why it was so freaky and it's unexplainable. Because like we did the due diligence, they checked it, like no trauma, no nothing. So it was just like, yeah. And then when I saw that movie Paranormal Activity, I saw how they fucked with the dog and the dog just died. I'm like, oh dang, like that was the closest thing to like some physical harm and stuff, you know. Like, but yeah, everything else.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I could see any animal could be traumatized by the fireworks, but to go like catatonic or to be hurt, and I see what you're saying. Maybe it jumped up. Did it normally jump on the wall or some kind of crazy shit?
Not enough, but I've seen him do it before. That's the only reason I even made that assumption. Because like, because he's usually super nice, but when people like come by that wall and dogs take a piss or something, then he'll get a little
jump
more
up
aggressive
and testy.
Yeah. But
yeah, so it's possibly could have that, or again just been in a corner somewhere. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I've never heard anything like that. I've definitely seen dogs traumatized by fireworks. I've definitely seen them try to flee, try to run. My dog will run for miles. Oxley will just run away.
Oh damn! But he's an explorer, so
he just flees. Where the other girl will walk through the noise and not even care.
Oh shit!
So they're totally opposites. But he does not like noise. He will run away. But I couldn't imagine something that can't get away is stuck. So that sucks, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and that probably even more. But but it sucks the mystery that surrounds that. That's
yeah,
hard.
yeah, and I just like I'm just all of this is open dialogue. Whoever wants to comment and like share their thoughts, you know what I'm saying, or what they think is happening.
And by all means, man,
yeah,
you had to work. Puppy had to chill outside.
Yeah,
there's nothing you could do. Even inside, it'd have been scared from fireworks.
And then you gotta clean up after them religiously.
So nothing your fault, man. It's just a hard one right there. Oh, that's tough. Let's see. Is there, any other UFO occurrences that stand out for you? Any other? Because
I don't look to the sky like that. That's why I love your slogan, because it's like. One of the last times I seen something crazy. Maybe not a UFO, but I'm like, oh damn, I didn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like even just the beautiful fucking picture that was painted for us of the contrast and hues of changing and the seasons change. Like, yeah, we don't look up at the sky. Like, I don't even know it's raining until raindrops hit me sometimes. Where it's like, oh, like, I mean, you can see the greatest, but you know what I'm saying?
Great.
So it's like, yeah, we should be paying attention. You know what I'm saying to this.
We were out last night. I assume it was. Could have been Venus, could have been Jupiter. Man, a planet that we see in the sky every single night was so big and so bright. I was like, I can see how that can be confused for other things.
Yeah.
And we watched it rise so fast in the sky throughout the night.
Yeah.
Over the first 90 minutes, it was like 15 degrees higher almost already. But it was a planet clearly, but it was huge. It was bright, and I could see people on the ground, people who don't know, people who are walking around drunk, myself on a bad night, not knowing any better, being young. I could see how we can all confuse things time to time. But again, just alluding to, we don't look in the sky enough, and sometimes some things are just beautiful and huge. And we were way north out of the city 2 hours.
Man.
So this thing looked so big. You never see it like that in the city. And again, it just could have been in a different orbital pattern, proximity, apex of its orbit to us, something like that. So, but it was incredible. It looked different than I've ever seen that planet before by the naked eye.
Nah, so I'm here looking for answers, just like most of you. I'm sorry I couldn't provide any answers, just more
experiences.
Yeah, because it's never been reported. Only shared with a few people that seen it. Because I really even rehash these, so like you need to keep the details strong and stuff, But now, if they were happen, I think they don't happen as much now because I have a way of recording it, and now it's like, oh, like.
Do you have any standout occurrences as an adult, paranormal or possible?
Nah, that happened when I was adult, the retriever situation. That happened when I was like in my mid-20s. It's like when I'm driving home, I'm like, oh, dang, that was a good one. I should have told them that, but no, nothing.
I'm going to go through a few wrap-up questions then, if you will, that are standard and customary, and either it'll jog something or it won't. No worries either way. So I usually ask, you pretty much answered it. Have you ever had prior UFO sightings or experiences of the same kind since or before? Is there any other standout UFO experiences as a kid or adult?
Nah, they're all like around spacecraft, where it's like I'm always seeing them traveling. Like I'm never seeing like their physical body.
You said spacecraft, like satellites and rockets launching, or
they could like. Most people probably write them off as fighter jets or anything like equivalent to that. You know what I'm saying? Military aircraft or like large.
So your standard aviation?
Yeah, but sometimes they don't look like, you know what I'm saying, like a standard aircraft, or they're not flying at the speed a normal aircraft will fly. They're flying a little bit faster, a little more agile. You know what I'm saying? Like
bouncing around to and fro at all?
I've seen that too before, you know what I'm saying? To be honest, I have seen them like, oh, like now they're up, now they're down, now they're like, oh, like it's kind of a little hard to keep track of them.
Wow.
But yeah, like
did you see those out here?
Yeah, all of this is like, Las Vegas is just like homes and breeders. And I've drove through New Mexico, Arizona, all these lonely states that's supposed to have this stuff, but for some reason, Las Vegas is where I seen the most activity that I would even classify in that realm or space,
Right, again, having grown up next to an Air Force base,
you
know what a normal curved, normal big banking maneuvers,
I ain't gonna lie, I done seen
speeds.
a giant cargo plane fly like maybe like not a couple thousand feet above us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas like you can see the wheels coming out of it in all types of situations. So for me to even like give my accounts of this, that means I had doubt that it wasn't what I normally see.
Yeah, again, these things have normal speeds and trajectories.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't scoot ahead in seconds.
And they're still
bounce
by
around.
residential areas, so they still follow a different code and tendencies and how high they fly, how loud they. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to see them lower than normal, it raises an alarm, or you're like, oh damn, that was close. Or
Have you ever seen anything smaller? Like
Ooh.
I've seen
like
a
little small like orbs or stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen a black orb, not just a bright one. I've seen something that looked like it was the size of a black basketball, and it was hovering above the power lines, but it didn't hover. It was floating. It went by just above the power lines, and it was black. And I'm watching it, and it was like wispy, and it bounced. It moved like it was a balloon.
Okay.
And it just bobbed along, but it went along the power line. So I'm like, what?
Where it's like without touching it, without no static.
Yeah, no
friction.
balloon is
Yeah,
going to just fly. It's going to fly, but it's going to go up or down.
Exactly.
It's going to lose altitude, or it's going to gain it.
Or it's going to get stuck on the line somewhere.
And this thing just continued along, and it bobbed like it was trying to trick us that it was, you know.
like-
But I was like, this thing's just going through the middle of the city, following a power line, and nobody's paying it any mind or attention.
Man.
Have you ever seen anything like that on your side of town?
You know what I'm saying? I've seen like lights just bounce around, like just like around us, just in general, like greenish, bluish, yellow. You know what I'm saying? Like all different type, red sometimes. And it's not just you seeing stars of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen all types of stuff, but it's like sometimes when you even try to get proof, the eye or like the camera quality isn't gonna do it justice. So you're like, so it's just like, why even like try to prove what you're saying? It's like somebody would have to take your mental, like on some Black Mirror stuff, and take what you're seeing and analyze your actual eyesight to let you know what you're seeing. But yeah,
Right.
I've seen stuff similar, and I've seen stuff floating. It's like, oh, it's a trash bag, or it's a thing.
That's
you know
what
I'm
I
saying?
thought
Like,
this was. I was like, that's a trash bag. No, that's a balloon. No,
yeah.
that's a wispy black basketball bouncing
And that
along
just lets
the
you know that you're
power
not crazy because you went to the rational first, you know, and you still kept observing, and that's why we have these conversations, and that's like, that's dope.
Awesome.
So like, I can't never say for sure what it is because I never go like fully. I never go to the other side of the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? So like, I get lost and wonder.
I'm gonna move on here.
Please.
Have you ever had, have any of your family had paranormal or UFO experiences that they've shared with you? Brothers, sisters, mother, father, grandparents, aunties.
Yeah, because they lived in the islands, like in the island of St. Vincent. So like even it's a little more developed now. But you know, in any rural areas or stuff like that, it's dark at night and you see stars, and so like they probably shared a couple paranormal stories here and there, like they thought they saw ghosts or people that spirits, or like even if it's comforting, you know, like they've, you know what I'm saying, been touched by spirits. So yeah, I've heard that throughout the family a lot, and or even close friends of the family and stuff.
Anything
like
that stands out that was either scary, awesome, or even that you heard it and you're like, oh, they're being superstitious, I can explain that. Or something that you're just like, wow, auntie, grandma, that was really crazy.
I think my mom said she was like carrying a load of clothes at night somewhere from a well or something. She thought she like saw a figure that was like already dead or something. She just dropped it and ran and started crying. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that, to that effect. Like, but nothing in great detail where I'm like, oh, I have to share this with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of hear it and you're like,
she saw a figure that was dead?
Yeah, or like somebody that she knew, or like something that would make her drop, because she's not like a scary person and stuff. So like to make her to do that, you know what I'm saying? Especially if she's been living there her whole life. Like I'm like, oh,
walk like, every night.
Yeah,
you know,
so,
if somebody's just walking on the path parallel.
Yeah,
you know, oh, it's a fellow village person or the next village or section over, and they're just walking to and fro.
I wish I had it in great detail to really share what happened, but like I don't want to misconstrue anybody's story or words and stuff. So, but I knew that was like a major part of the story. Like,
interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, is that the only one that really?
Yeah, that I could really remember without like taking a few minutes to really like think.
Okay, so kind of a wrap up intellectually. Have any of these experiences left you thinking or feeling any kind of way in hindsight? Even intuition led your intuition, the UFO, the paranormal.
Oh, my intuition is real. Like it's just I don't. it's you mainly notice intuition when you make the mistake after you're like, oh, I had that gut feeling I shouldn't have. So it's just like,
or I should have listened to.
Yeah. So it's like,
thinking back to the being choked in your sleep paralysis. Did that leave you with a thought, a feeling, or an intuition?
Yeah, in the moment it was really strong where it's like, oh damn, what's going on? Like, how can I explain it? How can I prevent it? You know what I'm saying? Is this, you know what I'm saying?
The next time you were ready.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like like all of these stuff change who you are, but I'm not sure if they change the trajectory of where your life is going. You know what I'm saying? They can. Or it's like I could be now a paranormal detective after something like that or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? But I still chose on my path, or you know what I'm saying? All the stuff I saw, I could
blended,
you know
awareness.
Yeah. So it's like those experiences, in a nutshell, probably even help me relate to other people. In fact, of what they're telling me was like, damn, something seems far fetched, but this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is not just going out their way to lie to you or start a conversation or anything.
Right.
You know
Just because maybe they're dealing with it and they didn't know how to interpret it. That's why they're bringing it up. Not because they're weird.
Exactly.
Bringing up weird shit.
Because I've been paranoid or frightful of the vacuum in the hat in the corner at night that looked like a totally different object. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then
grew up to know better.
Yeah. Or like, even in the same night, it gets solved, and you know the Scooby-Doo, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I like that.
There's always a you know what I'm saying, a rational whodunit type of thing. But there are things that can't be explained. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this stuff is about, and trying to explain it, and whether it's just a feeling or whatever we believe, our beliefs become, you know what I'm saying, can manifest reality for sure.
That's awesome. How about the and I love that what you're saying is, you know, I'll say it over and over again. It could have been my imagination, could have been a real experience, it could have been young mind, paranoid and superstitious, and I'm aware of all of that now, and I try to apply that.
Yeah.
Looking back at what sounds like you're admitting is your imagination after watching excited television.
Yeah.
You know, looking back at that, how do you think, feel, or intuit that situation with, you know, high dramatized sci-fis as a kid, but then at night feeling like you saw some eerie gray
the
thing?
mind is really powerful, and it can make you feel things that you probably didn't, or like we're all in a simulation, and that's what they want us to think. Like, you never know. Like, there's so many rabbit holes and different perspectives it brings up. The older I get, it just brings more questions of like, why did it, you know what I'm saying, why does it trigger? Because I'm still learning, how do I learn, how do I process, how do I deal with things, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's forever going and forever changing for now. So
do you think it was real? Do you feel it was real but think it wasn't? Do you
there's a few, obviously the choking was definitely real, because that's a sensation that I can feel, you know what I'm saying, whether it's something on me or not.
Yeah, you
it's
can
something
really hold on to that.
You can feel that. But the other stuff is probably more imagination based, or you know what I'm saying, something like that. I would hope it would be anyway, you know what I'm saying, because it's like, who knows what they did to you, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they like put mental images where you would, you know, false memories in you or anything, you know. Like,
wouldn't it be interesting if, you know, inadvertently you're showing all of mankind unsolved mysteries, X-Files, but young people or psychic people or attuned people can project, like law of attractions, like so many laws of our universe, and just by becoming aware of these things, we as kids think it's just imagination, but we're attracting at night. We watched a show. It was about ghosts. It was about monsters. It was about Bigfoot. It was about Mothman. It was about UFOs. And we go to bed and we think it's imagination, but we were projecting so much fears, energy, thoughts, even imagination, that something flying past was like, holy God, look at this one. Let me go mess with this one. I'm attracted to this one. Let me go see what this one is doing.
There's plenty of movies and concepts about that, like even with like the gods, where like, oh, you praying gives them power and keeps them real, because if you don't pray them, they die off, they get weak and wither away.
You're right, from all of those things we just mentioned to the Freddy Krueger aspect, right? If you're afraid of it, you feed it, and if you stop giving it anything, it goes away.
Exactly.
Interesting. I like how we're trying to be rational skeptics and at the same time aware of aware and open to possibilities.
No, that's what I'm always aiming until I get the hardcore proof. I don't know how much hardcore proof I need, but like I said, to meet something and interact with it, touch the the spacecraft or like interact with an alien or something with like that. I mean, there's no denying it after that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's the next step for me, and where I'm looking for. But I'm not actively just looking for them. If it happens, or if I'm lucky enough to be out there.
I hear you. You're not pointing lasers.
Yeah,
at the
but
sky.
I am planning on going on a world tour. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you know what I'm saying, through the career path or just vacation time. Like I do plan on seeing the Northern Lights, all the phenomenons and stuff. So you know, it's already interesting enough.
Continue to seek to compare and contrast the cosmos.
Yeah.
Places on Earth, how it all looks, and what might be out there.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, I have one final question. Helps every listener and viewer to kind of gauge, you know, have you ever reported any of your experiences to anyone, such as a National UFO Reporting Center, MUFON, you know, anything to that effect?
Absolutely not. I don't even like giving out my email to companies. I unsubscribe from stuff, so to jump through that many hoops to report something I saw, like, no. And I wasn't even aware of those type of agencies and stuff back then, and I was so young that, you know what I'm saying? So if it happened today, you know what I'm saying, yes, I would probably have some harder proof evidence because I carry a cell phone a lot, so you know what I'm saying? So I would and then it would back up the statements, so you know what I'm saying, the proof would be right there.
Even then, I'm sure it would have to be a pretty solid experience for you to even want to report it, right?
Exactly. So
so if we can't confirm it, we only see a few things, it's kind of hard to be like, I can call the local air tower. If they say no, they didn't see it, I don't know what to do after that, right?
Exactly. And then, and that's where they get us, and they probably already know that, you know what I'm saying? So,
but it's an interesting point. Again, I asked this question to always say, you know, we read statistics on how many people have reported every year. In America, it may be 10,000, maybe 100,000 sightings or occurrences or reports. Well, if you and I and every person on this show this season, no one has reported their experience. That's 10 people, 10 episodes, and not one has reported it. But if there's 100,000 reports,
so that means there's probably 1 million for real.
Boom.
Yeah.
This is the thought process behind it all. So I want to thank you for being vulnerable enough to
Styles,
share
man,
what could be imagination, could be real, could be absolute terrifying, experience and authentic.
I just wanted to provide dialogue, and you know what I'm saying, and anybody that wants to come forth, they're like, oh, somebody else has, like, I feel like I had something in that space, you know, let me, you know, just progress what you building, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much too. And thank you, Ian and Sean, for stepping in the studio today and sharing your experiences.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in today. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, or follow the Experiencer Podcast. If you have an experience you'd like to share, you can contact me at theexperiencerpodcast@gmail.com with your story. Also, the Experiencer Podcast is building a companion website that will showcase any accompanying photos, footage, or details allowed or submitted with featured podcast episodes. It's in that vein that the Experiencer Podcast is seeking and accepting any footage of alleged sightings, encounters, or experiences caught on camera. Please forward any links, footage, or photos via WeTransfer or Dropbox to the email, theexperiencerpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody, and until next time, be sure to take care of yourselves.